Stop trying to spot the manipulators. Stop wasting your time reading books on how to detect a narcissist. Stop spending your weekends watching videos on how to decode body language and analyze the hidden meanings in someone's text messages. You are wasting your life. You are obsessing over the wrong people. You are trying to win a game that doesn't exist. You have been told by the modern self-help gurus, the therapists, and the endless parade of online psychologists that the way to handle toxic people is to become an expert on their dysfunction. They tell you to look for the red flags. They tell you to protect your energy. They tell you to set rigid, complex boundaries that you have to endlessly explain to everyone around you. It is a lie. It is a complete and utter scam. By focusing so intensely on them, by dissecting their motives, by trying to understand their pathology, you are giving them the one thing they crave most, your attention. You are letting them occupy the most valuable real estate in your mind. You are being manipulated by the very act of trying to avoid manipulation. Stop doing it. Stop trying to fix them. Stop trying to teach them how to be better humans. Stop arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You are exhausted. I know the feeling. You feel it in the pit of your stomach when a certain name pops up on your phone. You feel it in the way your jaw clamps shut when you are in a meeting with a person who loves to talk over you, belittle you, or make you feel small. You spend hours, sometimes days, rehearsing conversations that will never actually resolve anything. You replay their subtle insults in your head while you are trying to sleep. You try to find the perfect comeback. You try to find the perfect way to explain your boundaries so they will finally get it. You try to be the bigger person. You try to lead them toward growth. You try to be the light in their darkness. But all you are doing is feeding the beast. You are giving them the only currency that matters to them, your emotional reaction. They don't want resolution. They want chaos. They are bored. They are empty. They are insecure. And they need you to fill that void with your frustration, your defensiveness, and your pain. The more you talk, the more you defend, the more you justify, the more fuel you pour onto their fire. You think you are winning the argument because you have the logic on your side. But they don't care about logic. They don't care about the truth. They care about the power dynamic. And every time you engage, every time you try to explain, you are handing them the victory. You are essentially saying, please, tell me more about why I am wrong, so I can continue to give you my energy. You are a participant in a game where the only way to win is to stop playing. But you keep picking up the controller, don't you? You keep hoping that this time, if you just say it the right way, if you just use the right psychological terminology, if you are just vulnerable enough, they will have a revelation. They won't. You are trapped in a cycle of your own making. You are exhausted because you are constantly trying to control something that is fundamentally uncontrollable, the mind of a person who thrives on chaos. If you are finally tired of being the fuel for someone else's dysfunction, if you are ready to stop being a pawn in their game and start living as a sovereign human being, then subscribe right now. We are moving beyond the surface-level advice of, just walk away. We are going to rewire how you interact with reality. This channel isn't about tips and tricks to make your life more comfortable. It is about the uncomfortable, necessary process of becoming unbreakable. The world you live in is a simulation of noise. You are being pulled in 1,000 directions by people who do not have your best interests at heart. You are losing your center. You are losing your focus. And it is time to get it back. Let's look at the men who actually understood power. The men who didn't need to shout to be heard. The men who didn't need to manipulate others to feel secure. The Stoics. The modern world looks at the Stoics and sees people who were passive, robotic, or uncaring. That is the definition of a man who has never read the source material. Stoics were the most active, engaged, and potent figures in the ancient world. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome. He dealt with the literal collapse of the known world, plague, betrayal, and constant war. Do you think he spent his time arguing with senators about who liked him more? Do you think he sat around justifying his choices to the people who wanted to usurp his throne? He treated his enemies with the same chilling indifference he treated the weather. He didn't need to talk it out. He didn't need a therapy session to process his feelings about a treacherous general. He knew that a man who understands his own nature has no need to negotiate with chaos. Seneca, the great advisor, spent his life in the most treacherous political environment in history, the court of Nero. He knew that every single person around him was a snake. He knew that they were waiting for him to slip, to get angry, to lash out, to show weakness. And so, he did the opposite. He became a mirror. He gave them absolutely nothing to work with. He didn't fight them. He didn't avoid them. He simply withdrew his consent to be bothered by them. That is the difference between modern weakness and Stoic invincibility. Modern weakness is needing people to act the way you want them to act so that you can feel okay. Stoic invincibility is the absolute, unshakable certainty that you are okay, regardless of how they act. When you interact with a toxic person, you are essentially a child begging for a treat. You are saying, "I am not whole unless you validate me." The Stoics started from the exact opposite premise. They started from the premise that they were already whole, and that the external world was essentially indifferent to their happiness. Epictetus, a man who began his life as a slave, understood this better than any modern CEO or billionaire. He was beaten. He was physically abused. He was denied basic human dignity. And yet, he commanded more authority than his master. Why? Because he held the dichotomy of control. He realized that his master had power over his body, but not over his mind. His master could break his leg. But his master could not break his judgment. His master could not force him to be angry. His master could not force him to be ashamed. When you engage with a toxic person, you are doing the opposite of Epictetus. You are inviting them into your mind. You are giving them a seat at the table of your soul. You are allowing them to determine your emotional state for the day. You are, quite literally, choosing to be a slave. So how do you fix this? How do you neutralize the poison without saying a single word? You stop being a participant in their drama. You start being a witness to it. There is a massive difference between the two. A participant cares. A witness observes. When a toxic person tries to bait you, they are looking for a hook. They are looking for you to justify, to explain, to defend, or to attack. Those are the hooks. If you take the bait, you are under their control. But what happens if there is no hook? What happens if you refuse to offer any resistance at all? Imagine you are a wall. Someone throws a ball at a wall. The ball bounces back. They throw it again. It bounces back. They keep playing the game because the game produces an effect. Now, imagine you are not a wall. Imagine you are the air. Someone throws a ball at the air. The ball passes through. There is no bounce. There is no resistance. There is no sound. They throw it again. It passes through. The game is over. It is impossible to play a game of chaos with someone who refuses to acknowledge the game exists. This is not about being passive-aggressive. This is not about the silent treatment to hurt them. That is still a game. That is still an attempt to manipulate them. That is still a reaction. This is about total, genuine indifference. It is the realization that they simply do not matter enough to disrupt your rhythm. You are the master of your own attention. You are the guardian of your own reality. Why would you spend your finite time, your precious mental bandwidth, analyzing the behavior of someone who is fundamentally unaligned with your mission? You wouldn't. But you do. You do it because you are addicted to the conflict. You are addicted to the feeling of being the one who is right. You are addicted to the ego boost of winning the argument in your head. Let that addiction die. The Stoic doesn't need to be right. The Stoic needs to be aligned. Alignment is the ultimate form of power. When you are aligned with your own character, when you know exactly who you are and where you are going, the behavior of others becomes background noise. Think about the way you walk through a busy street. Do you stop and explain yourself to every person you pass? Do you argue with people who bump into you? Do you try to justify your presence to the people who look at you strangely? Of course not. You have a destination. You are focused on where you are going. You are an object in motion. People who are not going anywhere are the ones who stop to argue. People who have no mission are the ones who focus on the mob. The moment you start focusing on your own life, on your own character, on your own discipline, the toxic people around you will begin to fade. They will realize that their hooks no longer catch. They will realize that you are no longer a source of supply. They will move on to someone else. And you will not even notice they are gone. This is the part that modern psychology gets so catastrophically wrong. They tell you to work on your relationships. They tell you to set boundaries. They talk about healthy communication. But you cannot have a healthy conversation with an unhealthy mind. You cannot negotiate with a person who doesn't respect the concept of truth. You are trying to build a bridge with a person who is trying to tear it down. Stop building the bridge. Just walk away from the river. This requires a massive shift in your identity. You are not the person who is being targeted. You are the person who is focused on the work. You are the person who is focused on the mission. When you have a mission, everything that is not part of the mission is a distraction. Is this conversation part of the mission? If not, then it is a distraction. And what do we do with distractions? We ignore them. We move past them. We don't get angry at the distraction. We just don't give it any of our light. This is the Stoic secret. Marcus Aurelius said the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Do you understand what he meant? He didn't mean to be nice to them. He meant to remain uncorrupted by their chaos. He meant to remain so anchored in his own principles, so centered in his own character, that their attempt to hurt him couldn't even touch his skin. They hit a wall of stone. They wanted him to break, to get angry, to get petty, to get even. By doing that, he would have become just like them. But he stayed an emperor. He stayed a Stoic. He stayed a man of reason. That is the ultimate victory. It's not about winning the argument. It's about not having the argument in the first place. It's about realizing that you have a short amount of time on this earth. You have a finite amount of energy. You have a finite amount of focus. And you are choosing to spend it on people who do not matter. You are choosing to spend it on people who are fundamentally trying to drag you down to their level. Why? What are you getting out of it? Is it the feeling of superiority? Is it the feeling of helping them? Is it the feeling of not being alone? Let it go. Be alone if you have to. Solitude is infinitely better than being in bad company. The company you keep determines the direction of your life. If your company is toxic, your life will be toxic. It is a mathematical certainty. Stop trying to change the math. Change the variables. And the only variable you have 100% control over is yourself. You cannot change them. You can only change how much access they have to you. And access is a privilege. It is a privilege that should be earned, not given away to anyone who happens to be standing in the room. You are a fortress. A fortress doesn't open its gates because someone knocks on them. A fortress opens its gates when it is ready. You are the gatekeeper. You are the master of your own domain. Start acting like it. Stop feeling bad about not replying. Stop feeling guilty for not attending the drama. Stop feeling responsible for their emotional regulation. They are grown adults. They are responsible for their own minds, just as you are responsible for yours. If they are acting like children, it is because they have chosen to be children. You do not have to parent them. You do not have to teach them. You do not have to suffer for them. Let them be what they are, and you be what you are. Be a person of character. Be a person of reason. Be a person of focus. The world will respect you for it. Not because you asked them to. Not because you explained why they should. But because they will have no other choice. A man who is aligned, a man who is sovereign, a man who is untouchable, that man commands respect by simply existing. You are that man. Or you can be. But you have to make the choice. You have to choose to let the noise die. You have to choose to let the drama dissolve. You have to choose to invest in yourself instead of investing in the chaos. It starts with one decision. The decision to be the rock. The decision to stop negotiating your peace. The decision to be the final judge of your own worth. And once you make that decision, the toxic people will fall away like dead leaves from a tree. They cannot survive in the environment of your alignment. They cannot feed on the silence of your strength. They will move on. And you will remain. You will remain standing. You will remain focused. You will remain in control. Everything you have been searching for, every ounce of respect you have been craving, is already yours to claim. It is waiting for you on the other side of your silence. Stop talking. Start being. Your life is yours. Do not give it away for free. Take your power back today. It belongs to you alone. Nobody can take it unless you open the door and invite them in. Keep the door shut. Keep your mind clear. Keep your focus sharp. The noise will fade. The truth will remain. You are the architect of your own destiny. Act like it. Your presence is the only boundary you will ever need. Walk forward and never look back. Your future is waiting. Make it yours.